Alright, I'm gonna get started in just a moment. Let me just put out the stream on socials and all that. Give me one moment, chat. Um, uh, let's see here. I'm gonna join this. Start the stage. Podcast. Okie dokie. Could prop in here. Let me just Horizons in this event space here. Let me just pull this, copy link, boom, boom, boom. Also live on YouTube if you want to listen in there. Then we'll pull this out here, copy that link, close that, pull that here, bang, boom. Okay, there we go. So, Pokemon Horizons. This is the new series that's been airing for the past 2 years now. Well, almost 2 years. Ever since the end of Aim to be a Pokemon Master, Ash Ketchum's epilogue series that aired from January to March of 2023. This show began with the main character, Liko, one of the main characters, obtaining a pendant which turned out to be a Terapagos in disguise. And she spent the last 89 episodes trying to get Terapagos to a place it wanted to go. That place was later revealed to be Rakua, a paradise for Pokemon on the top of a mountain caldera that housed a lot of different rare species, including legendary Pokemon, as well as a ominous otherworldly material known as Rakulium. Rakulium? They call it Lacurium in Japanese, but I guess Rakulium. This ore has the ability to extend humanity's lifespans, as well as power certain technologies, and also make Pokemon go berserk, increasing their physical abilities. That said, the premise of this story from the jump was to assemble 6 heroes that contained pieces of Terapagos' power, and then go to Rakua in order to unlock the paradise using Terapagos' power, which has the ability to kind of counteract Rakuim. Seems like it's sort of the antimatter to terrestrial crystals or something. But with that said, that's the general premise. And we've spent the last 2 years working towards that premise. Now, we are in the finale for Pokemon Horizons. We are in the end game, at least with regards to this Rakua arc. They've found Rakua. They've had a confrontation with their erstwhile antagonists, the Explorers. And now, Gibeon, the head of the Explorers, has been defeated along with his Zygarde. Now, we have the final episode. A member of the Explorers, Spinel, has decided to make the 6 heroes go berserk with his own contained, isolated dosages of Rakuium. And it seems like Rakua is now falling apart. from the very heroes that helped protect it 100 years ago. After that, we're getting a time skip, about a couple years or so, from my guess. We don't know an exact number. A time skip into a brand new story. Now, for those of you who are in the know, who may watch this on YouTube later or are listening in on Discord right now, a time skip was in the plans always for Pokemon Horizons. We know this from the Terra leak that occurred later last year, in which a large number of anime-related documents, particularly pitches to Game Freak and the Pokemon Company about the various Pokemon series, not just Horizons, but previous Ash series as well, were sort of just leaked, unveiled to us. We were able to pore over all of them, and we realized that there were a lot of plans for Pokemon Horizons that we now know didn't necessarily come to fruition. One of those was a plot in which one of Listel's Pokemon would become a hero. There was basically 3 extra heroes after the 6 heroes. Zygarde was one of them, then one of Listel's Pokemon, I believe it was a Beheeyem or something, and then one other Pokemon. There was also going to be a time skip in which where we are right now would have been the Explorers basically winning, and then due to Freed of all people betraying Liko and the others, and then a time skip would occur, and then they would come back to Rakua after collecting their own heroes in order to re-unlock Rakua and then confront the Explorers yet again. Yada yada. So a lot of those details have been brushed over seemingly. However, it's not like the general broad strokes haven't been met. I mean, we know that there is going to be a time skip. They did have the confrontation at Rakua earlier than you would think. In a usual series, something like this confrontation would be at the very end of the series, right? I mean, if you think about previous anti-poke series, whenever you have a rival or an evil team or whatever, their finales are towards the end of the series. It doesn't really happen in the middle. So this is a little different, right? It's a little bit of a different structuring. The reason for this is that Dai Sato, who is the series composition, really likes putting time skips in his shows. He did in Eureka 7. I'm not sure if he did it in Listeners. That's another series that he series comped. I don't know if he did in Ergo Proxy either. I don't remember. It's been ages since I watched that show. But he likes using time skips. It's something he's done before, something he's comfortable with, something he's familiar with, and it is a really good way of sort of, well, it's a good way of skipping a lot of character development, but also it's a way of showing, of portraying a different kind of story, in essence, from the first part. I mean, think about Naruto, for example. I think that's one of the most famous examples of a time skip, in which we had the first series, Naruto, and then Naruto Shippuden, which was basically a completely different series with regards to tone and also just the general goals and motivations of the characters, right? So, let's talk a bit about why these discrepancies exist. Because in order to understand where we are now, we have to understand what the original plan was. Pokemon Horizons was originally pitched in, I believe, early 2022. That or 2021, late 2021, somewhere in that time area. And they wanted to, at the start, the initial start of the series would be fairly similar, but they wanted to have a sort of structure throughout the entire length of the series. Basically, every core, or 12 episodes, there would be a hero that's found. They would do this for the first 6 cores, being taking us up to episode 78, basically. Or 6 times 12 is 72. 72. So the first 6 cores would be about finding the original 6 heroes. And then after that, they do another 3 heroes for up to episode 90. So, or 98. So, with that said, the show was a lot more structured in that premise. And throughout there, they would be showing off like Arvin with the Herba Mystica. Nimona would appear at some point. The show was a little more Paldea focused, I think, than the Current Horizons is. But it ended up, and we also had that plot with Freed betraying and all sorts of other stuff. However, it ended up being that the plot did not pan out that way. They ended up not using that. They ended up not using that plot, and instead, I mean, there was a lot of. To begin with, the pre-production for Horizons was very troubled. It took a long time. They actually had to delay the release of the series by about 6 months because they couldn't really decide on the pre-production. That original pitch, basically they accepted the idea of Ash leaving, and they accepted the general idea of Horizons, which was codenamed Vern back then. But they considered that, this isn't exactly where we want to go. We like they commented that the battles were too serious. The characterization with regards to Liko was a little too like close-minded. There was, they really didn't like the whole family ties stuff in general. It was honestly a lot of the criticisms that people in this community had back when the show originally released. I think a lot of those ideas that weren't liked were ideas that Sato took from other anime that he usually works on. He's worked on a lot of the really genre-defining anime over the past several decades. I mean, he's worked on Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, Ergo Proxy, Wolf's Rain. Like, a lot of these shows are, even if they're not, some of them aren't shows that people watch or have heard of. Like, I don't think I've met a single kid in this community who's heard of what Wolf's Rain is. But even if a lot of people don't know those shows, they are shows that serve as the benchmark for other writers in the industry. These shows, especially shows like Wolf's Rain, which are really, it's kind of like a cult classic. It's really good. So a lot of his ideas are formulaic in a sense, but not because he's copying, but more they're the truthisms and pillars of creativity that he set up himself along with other writers during those formulaic years of the industry. During those formulating years in the industry, not formulaic, but like foundational years in the industry, I would say. As a result, nowadays, a lot of those, you would call them tropes now, are repeated in many major shonen shows, many major shoujo shows as well. A lot of these tropes are replayed again and again in one form or another. The whole family ties becoming the chosen one thing, or a focus more on humans, with the Pokemon basically being seen as almost weapons, especially in the earlier episodes of the show, as well as the battles being a lot more serious or just tense in general. They weren't friendly competitions. They were actual fights, like actual like battles, like fights, which was a little too serious for the executives at Game Freak, for example, but also in general the production committees and stuff. They kind of thought that it was a little too harsh, a little too hard. And as a result, I mean, you guys can clearly see, I mean, look at how many fewer Explorer fights there really were after Arc 1. Arc 1, there was an Explorer fight almost like every 3 episodes or something. But the in the future arcs, later arcs like Arc 3, Arc 4, Like there weren't really a whole lot. There was a few, of course, in pivotal moments of the show, but not to the extent of being overwhelming. And also, the circumstances in which they fought were a little less tense and fraught to begin with. Uh, this this ideal is even seen in the final boss battle, in which Zygarde's actually revealed to be a good guy. Which, of course, I mean, if you really think about Zygarde as a Pokemon, it doesn't really make sense that he'd be a bad guy to begin with because of his role in the ecosystem and all of that, right? Like, it doesn't particularly make sense. It was more just that he was the bad guy's, like, partner, right? The bad guy's partner Pokemon. And Gibeon, in the beginning, was a well-intentioned person. I mean, of course, like all like most well-written villains, he still thinks he's well-intentioned. It's more just that his well intentions have been twisted by a sense of greed and hurt into something that is outright dangerous for the world, let alone the people. Well, not people, but like, well, the people who live at the bottom of Rakua, but also the Pokemon who live in Rakua. So that aspect of shaving away the edge, not in the metaphorical sense of edge, like edgy content, but more the metaphorical sense of edge, has been. Oh, I'll get to the energy. Don't worry, I got a lot to say. The metaphorical sense of edge has been kind of, it got toned down. Like, just the whole tension, everything got toned down. So those changes were primarily because of the executives and maybe the directors, although honestly, we don't know enough about the situation to really say. Like, I like to say it's the fault of the directors because I think that a lot of these things are directional. Like, they're directional choices. They're not really choices the writers would make. But a lot of these things are directional. But it's hard to know if this was a director's choice or it was the people above them. Now, in a general sense, though, like from what I've seen in the Terra Lake and what we've gotten from other circumstantial evidence, the people running the anime actually have a lot more leeway than people think they do. Like, they have a lot of, like, most of the time sometimes they make unilateral decisions that the executives later criticize that they made those decisions. And it might be that the executives, like in a sort of like Japanese businessman sense, didn't get themselves involved in the decision making so that they cannot be faulted for the bad decisions later. Kind of like what Game Freak did when it came to Horizons' pre-production. But these changes had led, these very fundamental structural changes to Sato's original plot and series composition led to a pretty big problem. They threw a massive wrench in the outlined progression of his plot while still sticking with that plot. As a result, a lot of the character progression and narrative progression of the show was not consistent whatsoever. You look at, like, the biggest example I always bring of this is Terastal debut. Okay? It was a good arc with regards to character development for, well, Liko had an arc during that, but it kind of wasn't an arc that, the arc didn't have any real follow-up or build-up for that matter. So it kind of cheapened the arc in a little bit, but she did have an arc of sorts. But particularly for Roy and Dot, these arcs were really this arc was really the arc where they shined character-wise, which is good. However, for the narrative, this arc literally just took a big fat shit in the middle of it. They didn't even really broach the idea of the 6 heroes for over 20 episodes. I think there was just the one episode where Freed went to Exceed, his former workplace. That was the one episode we really got with regards to that plot. They didn't really do much of anything else. Sure, they talked with that teacher from Naranja Academy. I forget what her name is, because honestly, she's such a nothing burger character. I kind of didn't like. I don't remember her name, but this arc completely threw apart Raptor. Okay, yeah. This arc completely threw apart the pacing and the outlining that they made for how these heroes would be found. Because now you have to completely skip a lot of the setup, the arrival, the journeying. Like, remember how much they did to find Oliva or Arboliva whenever whenever they went there. You know, they were doing all this stuff. They met Nimona. They trekked around for an episode. They looked for it and all of that. Like, this with Arc 4, they didn't really do much of that at all. It was kind of, they just kept hopping from place to place to place. Like Paldea, like they had an whole arc in Paldea specifically because they went there to find Rayquaza and by accident Arboliva. And then they took to the oceans to find Lapras and all of that. Like, there was a lot more travel. There was a lot more in general world building and continuity in the way they moved from place to place. It was a little more consistent and also a little more grounded. And that was part of the plan. But when you take Arc 3, when you put a giant arc in the middle of it that doesn't interact with that narrative whatsoever, you end up just sitting there. You end up sitting there and you end up not having that sort of consistency that you want in the pacing. So Arc 3 was not, to my knowledge, not really planned at the start. I don't believe it was. You know, some people were saying it was. I believe in the Terra leak it was shown that it wasn't. It wasn't part of that arc at all. In general, in the original outline, Paldea was interspersed throughout the whole series instead of being confined to like a 20 episode basically like victory lap going through the whole region. HZ Shippuden. I mean, that's basically what it is, man. Yeah, so that's one issue. Then we have the issue of ZA, right? I think it's pretty clear that ZA was not communicated to them during pre-production. I mean, they even say in the Terra leak that they haven't told them that Mega Evolution was going to happen, and they hadn't even told them about Gen 10 either. In my opinion, not at least telling the directors and the series composition that this is going to happen is a really bad form of mismanagement. Because you're basically telling them, okay, yeah, you're going to have to do ZA. You're going to have to do a Mega Evolution arc. And truth be told, this was probably told to them right when they were making Terastal debut. So a year after they completed the production of the first couple episodes. So that's why they felt the need to do a Terastal arc, was because they knew they wouldn't really be able to focus on Terastal for the whole series. It wasn't going to be the gimmick that would be used in the final battle. Even though Terastal and Terapagos and its power were the power that was supposed to counteract the Raklium, which is the thing. No, that's the thing, Desdar. They didn't know about them whenever they were making the show originally. The reason we know Mega Zygarde and Mega Zeraora exist was because the Game Freak executives were talking to each other, and they were like, the anime staff don't know this, but we're actually going to be doing a Mega Zygarde and a Mega Zerara. If you don't know, Zerara was planned. Like, Zygarde and Zerara were put in the anime's original plot by accident. Zerara was supposed to be one of the new heroes that Liko and Roy would catch in the after the time skip. Because basically what happened was they would lose the 6 heroes in the fight with Gibeon before the time skip because Freed betrays them. And then they have to make new heroes in order to save Rakua and stuff again after the time skip. And Zerara was one of those planned heroes. Or were they a member of the 6 heroes? I actually don't remember. They might have been oh! Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Grazin, is that they were picked for the heroes. Well, Zygarde I thought wasn't one of the 6 heroes. I thought it was one of the 9 heroes. Right? And then Zerara actually was a member of the 6 heroes. Actually, I had that wrong. Okay, my bad. I had that part wrong. Zerara was a member of the... I kind of actually remember that now. Zerara was a member of the 6 heroes. Not the ones they catch later, but the original ones. And they changed it. Likely after they told them that. But that's the thing. They picked Zygarde and Zerara by accident to be involved in the show, and the reason why we know about that is because the Game Freak execs were talking to each other, and they're like, yo, we're actually making megas for these, and we have to make sure the timing with regards to the announcement of ZA is good. Like, that was, like, the whole point, right? And that's kind of wild to me. They didn't really communicate this stuff properly at all, even though they knew full well that these games would be coming, this game and this giant marketing push that they're planning would be coming out in the middle of the arc. Now, let's talk about the game for a second. Pokemon Legends EA. It's a game releasing this year. It features Mega Evolution pretty heavily as a main mechanic of the game. Mega Evolution is most likely the most popular battle mechanic that they have introduced in modern Pokemon. More popular than Z-Moves, Dynamax, or Terastal. And it's like kind of not even close. Mega Evolution, they understand that people have been begging them to make Mega Evolution come back for years. Almost a full decade, really. Like, and that's all people wanted was more Mega Evolution, but they realized that, well, Mega Evolution was really hard to design. It was hard to choose which Pokemon should get them, which shouldn't. Balancing it is super annoying, etc. ZA got delayed because of, like, because of the anime. I'm, like, 99% sure. Like, not only the anime, but also Scarlet and Violet's production issues and its performance problems. They delayed it for that, sure. But I think that ZA also partially got delayed because of the anime. Because they wanted to include megas and stuff, but they couldn't do it too early because of the Scarlet and Violet advertising. ZA was, it was supposed to be late last year. It was supposed to be when late 2024, so like November 2024. It was supposed to already be out. I'm happy that they haven't released it yet, if only because that means that we get better performance and stuff. But that's aside from the point. The point is, Mega Evolution is going to have a major marketing push this year. More so than any of the DLC did. They are going to, and more than Legends Arceus did, if we're gonna be straight up. I think it's more than Legends Arceus did too. They now know that people like Legends. They know people like Mega Evolution. So they're combining both. The TCG is getting a whole new block as well. They're getting a whole new block, a mega block, and they're going to be releasing a bunch of different sets to, advertise Mega. I'm pretty sure every Mega Pokemon's going to get a TCG card, which is like a whole, like that's like probably 3 or 4 sets, like full booster sets of just Mega cards. And some other miscellaneous EXs. Mega Evolution is super important. They are featuring it. They are featuring it more heavily in the anime as well. They are literally transforming the entire show to morph around it. They are making Mega Voltage, which is, I think it's pretty obvious that's Mega Zerara. I think that's pretty obvious to anyone. But they are morphing the entire show away from Terastal and seemingly away from Rakua as well, and Rakulium, because Rakulium or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's so stupid. I don't think does anyone know how to pronounce that, by the way? I don't. But the show is transitioning away from that. And since Rakulium is an antimatter or an antithesis to Terra crystals, that means that Rakulium is probably just gone too. We even see in the trailer that the 6 heroes basically erase the giant Rakulium crystal, and I think there's just the core that's buried in the mountain now. Yeah, Desdar, that's actually a really good point. I actually made that point as well on Twitter a couple days ago. It was before Mega Voltage got revealed, and I'm gonna be straight up, I knew about Mega Voltage and what the characters looked like and stuff several days before it came out. But I think it's pretty clear that those MCs are roughly the same age. I would say they're around 15. They're not as old as the XY MCs. I'll say that much. Rakulium, I'm not saying that. I said Rakulium. Rakulium. Rakulium, not Rakulium. I said Rakulium. Rakulium? Rakulium? I don't know. Raki? Maybe. Anyway, so they are morphing the entire show around Mega Evolution. That means that, I think the most obvious thing is that the entire arc is now cut short. They got baited into cramming Rakua's arc into... It's kind of weird to say Rakua's arc into one arc. Rakua's arc into one chapter of the show. So, basically, year 1 is wrapping up. Their production's wrapping up. Their action director, which, I'm going to talk about the direction and staff roles in a bit, but their action director is leaving to go work on other projects. So, the regular director has a little more workload on them in the coming arcs. And so they're doing a directorial shift, with Tomiyasu going from creative director, just handling the ideas, to becoming executive director, kind of managing the whole studio, the whole show. And Sariden maintains director, but likely with a much bigger workload on her now. She gets told, all right, we need you guys, we're not really going to tell you why, but we need you guys to make a Terastal arc, because we feel, and they probably were told this throughout the entire of year 1, was that they were being told, we're not seeing enough Paldea here. We saw 2 gym leaders, and that's it. And that was in the first, that was within 5 episodes of each other. And we've seen nothing of Paldea since then. We need Paldea. We need Terastal to play a bigger role. We need more Paldea. Give us Paldea. Why do you guys, we're gonna do it later. Why do you guys want us to do Paldea so bad? Just do it, bro. Don't worry about it. And then, once they're done the Terastal debut, oh yeah, by the way, put a Zygarde in that one episode next to the game. Make his Pokemon a Zygarde. Oh yeah. Make sure the Zygarde's only revealed, February on Pokemon Day. Yeah, make sure the Zygarde's only revealed then. Don't show it before then. Don't show the game before then. But on whenever it airs on Pokemon Day, put that there. And then they're like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, boom, ZA. Uh-oh. You gotta make a Mega Evolution arc the whole 3rd year about Terastal and like harnessing Terrapagos' power and learning to harness it themselves instead of just using Lucius's work. That's what the third year was supposed to be about, with you guys actually making your own heroes and stuff, and reviving Terrapagos yourselves and becoming heroes yourselves. Yeah, erase that. You're gonna do Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution. That's what we're doing. We're not doing the Space Rock shit. We're not doing Terrapagos. We're not doing Terrastal. We are doing Mega Evolution. That's what we're doing. Yeah. You guys have one arc to wrap it up because we're done with your yapping. That's basically what the executives at the Pokemon Company told them. That's not proper management. That's not healthy for a production. Of course, Arc 4 was rushed. Of course, it was a problem. They did not have sufficient runtime to actually fix that. Of course, we had that issue. And because of this, because of their obsession with timing everything perfectly with the game announcements, they stretched themselves out too long in Arc 3 and then compressed themselves too thin in Arc 4 instead of just having a normal progression. Even if they were told at the jump, yo, you can't do a third year, okay? We can't have this arc, this story about Rakua and Chosen Ones and stuff last for 140 episodes. We need you to shrink that down to 90. That's still doable in 90 episodes. Amethio's development, everyone's development is still doable in 90 episodes up to a time skip for that one story and then do a second little story after for 1 year. That's still doable in 90 episodes. They would have been able to pace themselves much, much, much better and also integrate Paldea stuff much better within those 2 years if they had just known from the jump. I don't know why this is such a big problem for them because they've been doing this. They've been doing this. This is not the first time the production has done this shit. The same shit happened in XY, where they were told, originally Sun and Moon was planned to come out in 2017, but they wanted to match up the 20th anniversary, and they wanted the anime to match that too. They thought they had more episodes to develop Greninja and Ash's story in XY and all of that, and then they were forced to compress it into 1 year. And that's also why they released basically the full versions of the games the year after. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Have we ever seen... That's never happened before in Pokemon, where they release the games and then they just released an updated version of the games. Well, here's the problem, Razin, and I was going to talk about that in a bit when I started talking about the staff roles and stuff. Arc 2 was made that way because they were listening to the fans, and they realized that we aren't, the narrative focus is good, but we also want to see some of the classic Pokemon filler because people like Pokemon filler. It's fun. It fleshes out the world, right? And Arc 2, while it was extremely poorly executed, was that. It was that more classical Pokemon. They even brought back the shitty Pokemon filler arcs. They did, though. They rushed that whole ass arc. Sure, there were a couple fillers in there, but they rushed it. I don't think there's any argument that they rushed it, Astro. I think they did rush it. Just because they didn't do Rakua 25 episodes straight doesn't mean that they didn't rush it. So, with that said, let's talk about staff roles. Specifically writing, but we're going to talk about directors too. Let's talk about directors first because it's a little simpler. Horizons began with an unprecedented triple director setup. Pop, shut the fuck up. Don't Don't even say that, because these guys, I bet these motherfuckers are gonna watch this YouTube video and they're gonna see you say that, and they're gonna fucking give them more episodes. No, not happening, bud. Okay, so let's talk about directors. Horizons began with an unprecedented triple director setup. They had Saori Den, who was who has never directed a series before. She's done episode direction. She did some episode direction in Sun and Moon. She did some in Journeys as well. She did a good job. Her episodes are pretty good. I didn't really have an issue when she started with her role, like her getting picked. That's not really a big problem. I mean, her work, after she got reviewed, I went and watched her episodes and all that, got a sense of it. She's not insane, but she's pretty good. She knows what she's doing. She's not an idiot. So that's fine. Kind of. For episodes, not for series, which, as we'll come to see, was an issue. They also had to help her out because she's brand new. It was pretty prudent. They had their two best directors that OLM's got, Daiki Tomiyasu and Tetsuya Yajima, on creative direction and action direction, respectively. So that's the thing. Those are the two primary roles for a director, aside from liaisoning with the production desk and the production committee. Those are the two primary roles of a director. The creative direction side, which is, how the writing should go, ideas for arcs, execution of certain moments, all of that, reviewing the scripts, as well as action direction, talking with the chief animation director, talking with the storyboarders, like making sure that the episode fits their vision for how scenes should play out, etc. Those are the two different roles. And she had, I would argue, some of the best directors who are currently active in the industry working with them. Because I think Tomiyasu and Yajima are both incredibly talented. It's like, I might not agree with Tomiyasu's, form of direction, per se. But I do think that he's talented. I don't think anyone can dispute that. So, the first year had some stellar action. Yajima did storyboarding, Tomiyasu did storyboarding, and they had Takagi to work on the other episodes. It was insane. I genuinely, especially the first arc, I was like, this is literally the best Pokemon's ever been. And that was true, in my opinion. From an episode production quality standpoint, Arc 1, in particular the first 18 episodes, were just stellar. It was just so fucking good. I mean, I was glazing so hard. It's insane. So, that triple director setup worked good. But the problem is, Yajima doesn't actually work for OLM. He's not a staffer at OLM. He got contracted for 1 year to work for this show. After that, he left. So that was a big problem, I think, because he left. Tomiyasu moved to executive director. I talked about this a little earlier, but Den's workload just exploded, I think, and she got overwhelmed. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, she was asked to turn the entire story they had planned on its head. And then they just started going off the cuff, basically. They were literally writing it as they went along. So then we talk about the writing, because I think from a production standpoint, obviously, as with any long-running series, the first year is usually really strong with regards to production because, it's a new series. Animators like working on something new. They don't like being tied up with the same thing for years and years and years unless they really, really like it. Of course, Pokemon is a bit unique with regards to production because a lot of their younger staff, especially some of their most skilled staff like Ashita, they started working in the industry in order to work on Pokemon. They love Pokemon as a franchise. So, with regards to in-house staff, I think that they've actually grown in in-house staff in Horizons as compared to previous series journeys. I think they've actually grown. Of course, Apothecary Diaries is airing, and some of their best animators go to work on that sometimes, as long as they're best episode directors, etc. But that's like fine. Like with regards to like overall episode quality, of course it's gone down, but they still have good moments. Yeah, a lot of veteran staff like moved to the Anime team from other teams. I know that. But we still have like they still go over for stuff like seasonals like Apothecary Diaries. Honestly, Apothecary Diaries is really good. So I mean, I don't like I'm a little conflicted on whether I should really be mad about it or not. But, maybe I'm a little mad about it, but not too mad. I mean, the show's good. I suggest you guys watch it. So, that said, we're like digressing a little bit. Let's talk about the writing. So from an episode production standpoint, animation is still fine. It's not as good as it was Arc 1, but it's fine. It's not bad. It's not Journey's level bad. It's not Ash versus Drasna level bad in pivotal moments, right? Like we're not at that level. So, we're good. The pivotal, okay, yeah, Hisui, but who gives a fuck about Hisui? Like, let's be straight up. Let's be straight up for a little bit. Like, are we really talking about Hisui here? Like, is that where we're at? But maybe, okay, so maybe for certain moments it wasn't that great, but overall it was good, and it's still good. Like, not amazing, not as good as it could be, but solid, as well as, bro, that time travel arc for Cleaver, was I pushing that? I don't think I was. I said that was unrealistic. I'm gaslighting you right now. I didn't say that. I did not say that. That said, let's talk about the writing. And this is the part that really grinds my fucking gears. Because here's what I'm saying. You get one of the best screenplay writers in the industry, one of the most experienced screenplay writers in the industry, to write your show for Pokemon. An unprecedented level of experience in shit that isn't Pokemon to write for Pokemon. To write the story for your show. He brings in his whole story writing, his whole screenplay production staff as well to work on your show. Okay? And then you throw it out, but not in favor of like a new story. No, you're still going to use his general idea. You're just going to do it much worse and unorganized. That's what you're going to do. You're going to take a giant fat shit in the middle of his arc and then just write it as you go along. They didn't even, like, I'm telling you, they did not even have the length of Arc 4 decided by, like, September of last year. And this was bad because it was affecting the dub. They didn't know how many episodes they would need to dub in order to catch up with the show. So, like, until, I think they knew in, like, December, I think is whenever they posted that Horizons would be coming to Netflix. It was, like, December or January, up to episode 89. Like, it was that bad. And even to now, they haven't decided exactly how Mega Voltage is going to end. Or not Mega Voltage, but the last year of Horizons is going to end. They hadn't even decided that. So I'm not really sure, like, how people come in here and they blame Sato for this. This was not his fucking decision. In fact, his outline, while it has flaws, of course, I think the story is flawed from the get-go, but it was still a consistent story that had, consistent character development and interesting character interactions, right? Like the whole Freed betrayal thing. I think the Freed betrayal would have been kind of cool. It would have been a little weird, but it still could have been good. This, if you actually, when you're watching the show, I think that, you don't really notice it because in a vacuum, most Horizons episodes, especially like the plot driven ones, are good. They're written well in a vacuum. Like the singular episodes, they're written pretty well. I don't think we have there aren't a whole lot of examples, I think, of singular moments in the show that are just bad. No, yeah, I don't believe so. I think we have 2 more arcs left. Yeah, Mega Voltage is not the last arc. There's 1 more arc after that. I don't know what it's probably going to be Mega something, but I don't know what it is. So, Razin, shut the fuck up, bro. I don't even want to hear it, dude. Stop. So we're talking about Horizons. We're talking about what the fuck was I talking about? I was talking about the original plan and stuff. Yeah. So oh yeah, individual episodes aren't written that bad. But if you look at the actual story as a whole, it literally doesn't make sense. Liko doesn't have a character arc. She never had one. She had 5 different arcs that they made 1 episode about and then never followed up with. Which is weird. They just, at first they were like, okay, she's going to be an empath or someone who's who really connects with Pokemon, understands their problems, and might not be a crazy battler, but she connects with Pokemon really well, which is good. That's good. Then they were like, okay, she's actually really she's actually a hidden talent at battling, but because she had so many fierce fights, like fights against the shoulders that were basically just death matches, she never learned how to battle for fun. So she plays super defensively. She doesn't really go all out, etc. Then that was her arc in there. But then they were like, oh, well, you know what? Even though you're battling for fun, you suck dick at battling, actually, and you're not good enough. So you're actually bad. And then, oh, you know what? It actually doesn't matter that you suck dick at battling. You could still have fun anyway. I don't really get what they were trying to do. I still don't. I really don't. Roy was good. He was letting his dreams eat him up. He was so, his dream to, beat Rayquaza was insane for someone who has just a Fuecoco, right? And you really think about it, this flaw in him was shown throughout the series, right? Even with his battle with Brassius, where, he was overconfident, he was like, we're just gonna be his dick or whatever, be his ass. And then, whenever Amethio fought Rayquaza, I think it was episode 33, where Freed holds him back because Roy is like, I'm gonna battle Rayquaza with Fuecoco and Watchel, and we're gonna beat his ass. And Freed holds him back because Freed, while he supports Roy, he's been super supportive of Roy. Honestly, I think he has a better relationship with Roy than with Liko. I mean, it was in the original plan for Sato as well, where Sato wrote Liko like a shoujo protagonist who likes Freed, has a crush on Freed, and they also they kind of, in the first few episodes, they had that vibe where Freed and Amethio were in a feud over Liko, right? Remember all that fan art and shit? They toned that down real quick after that. But Freed's relationship with Liko is honestly what even relationship do they have? Does she even do they even talk? am I losing my mind? Like, do they even have a relationship aside from like just crewmates? Because I like with Roy, Freed like mentored Roy. You know, there were points like when Freed held Roy back from Rayquaza, etc. Yep, I think that Liko and Roy's relationship is gonna change a lot though in this new arc. I think that because they have to rely on each other a lot more now because Freed's not there. I think that their relationship's gonna change a lot. Well, I mean, he was her bodyguard until Liko got home, and then it was done, right? Like, um, after that, it was more just keeping Liko from Spinel and Amethio, which is like, you know, at this point, Liko can fight Amethio on even ground. She could even fight him. Remember, in their episode together, she still fought. She had a battle with him, and she kind of popped off. She kind of fought him. But aside from that, we were talking about Roy's arc. He has consistently been letting his dreams eat him up. Always being, like, always fighting or taking on way more than he can chew, right? Like, every time, he's literally squaring up with Rayquaza. And no one really thought to tell him how insane that is. And he got humbled against the Mona because he was like, I literally just fought a Rayquaza. You're not all that. And then she beat him up. So, and then he won his gym battle. He was the only one to win his gym battle. Of course, he had another fight where he still had that problem of just trying to brute force stuff and thinking he was that guy. Rhyme kind of humbled him, but after that, he just kept popping off. He beat Liko. He performed against Entei and Gouging Fire and Rayquaza. So, honestly, it was more of a head scratcher to me that Liko evolved first and not Roy. I guess it only makes sense because Liko's had Sprigatito for longer. But I don't think that isn't Lucius her great grandfather? I don't think that no. Great, yeah. Great grandfather, yeah. So I mean, if I saw my great grandfather, I mean, bro, Razit, I hate you. I hate you so much. You're so incorrigible, man. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, Roy has had a much better arc, and Dot had an even better arc. I mean, her development from starting in episode 8 to episode 50 was awesome. She was literally my favorite protagonist of any of them. I liked her more than Roy or I hated Roy to begin with. First year, I hated Roy so goddamn much. I literally was like, I was saying Roy was a mistake, like a mantra, over and over and over and over and over again, forever. I mean, technically, if Roy didn't exist, Liko would just have all of Roy's stuff, and then, it'd be kind of cool, but I guess it doesn't really fit. I mean, Roy looks really cool. So, Roy is actually my favorite character in the show now. I kind of just, realized that, because I was rewatching the show over the past, couple days, and I was like, you know what? Roy is my boy. Now, that said, Dot, episodes 8 to 50, amazing development. I mean, come on. It was the best. I think she had the most consistent and best development of any of the three in year one. It was so good. And then she had Dot versus Iodo, and that shit was gas, dude. I rewatched that episode 5 times. I have it saved on my phone because sometimes I like to just go watch it and think about how good things used to be. Oh my god, dude! Just even the start of it where Iono starts with Spark, dude. Oh my god, you really felt like that was a gym battle more than any of the other gym battles in this series. That battle felt like a fucking gym battle, if you know what I'm saying. Like this choreography, the strategy, everything. Holy shit. Oshida needs to storyboard more episodes. That's all I'm gonna say. He needs to storyboard more. So, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about power levels right now, Liko beats everybody right now because Meowscarada is strong as fuck. She literally knocked out a Zygarde, bro. She one shots most of the cast. Roy would give her a little trouble, but Meowscarada, Terrastol would murder him. Zygarde wasn't really feeding. He got knocked down though. That's if Liko was one of us, she would keep blasting Zygarde while he's down. Yeah, because I think all the motherfuckers in this podcast or in this call would do that. They knock him down and then they just keep spamming. Because I mean, who wouldn't do that? I think that Terrasto, Meowscarada, and Mega Lucario will be roughly even in power level. Roughly even. I think they're gonna have Liko keep using. I hate that gif. That fucking gif, bro. Dude, it's not that wild of an assertion, bro. It really isn't. Dude, I can't. Dude, what the hell? Okay. It has Toon Force? What are you talking about? Toon Force. What the hell? Oh, yeah, no. I'm live streaming this on YouTube, Razin. I'm live streaming it, so it's all going to be on my channel. Haha, subscribe. Anyway. So, generally, I think that Liko needs a little more work. However, we are now transitioning to the Roy show, so she's never going to get more work. She's probably just going to be like Roy's girlfriend or something. That's my guess. But not like actually girlfriend, but you know what I mean. No, I have not heard anything about Ash. Griffin is not my only source for shit that goes on in OLM. But I have not heard, I've heard it, discussed a little bit, but not considered seriously. Ash is such a big problem for them. The whole shit with Rika is insane. They're never gonna bring her back. Now that she's gone, they're never bringing her back if they can't help it. And yeah, Dot is done too. Yeah, Dot is not getting it. Dot is probably going back to sitting in the ship. That's what it looks like, which would suck, but it is what it is. I hope that Dot has a better outdoor. I think that outfit she's wearing is her indoors outfit where she's kneading around. But I hope she has a really a nice outfit for going outside and venturing with them. Yeah, I kind of want Yurimine to return too. I don't think it's really a problem to have that, but I do want Dot to progress a little bit. We'll see. That said, that's generally my thoughts. Well, on regards to the writing side, just to finish up, I think Sato's done. I mean, Sato, they tore up his outline. They shit on him all the time in pre-production, and then they fucked up their own plot later on. And then they were like, okay, well, you know what? We're just going to cut it short. And he's not even writing his finale, nor any of his writers. I think that he's done. I think he's just mad because he wrote a decent plot and they replaced it with something much, much, much worse. So, yeah, I mean, his plot wasn't a 10 out of 10. It was a 7 out of 10. But they replaced it with a 5 out of 10. So I think Sato's done. I think his staff is done. I think Matsuzawa is going to be taking over. as series composition. And honest to God, I might invite Matsuzawa to this Discord server because he speaks a little bit of English. I might straight up, because this is gonna be a wild year, especially because he holds spaces every fucking week. Like, this is gonna be a year. There's a reason I didn't tweet that write up I did of the space I did with Matsuzawa, where I talked with him a little bit. I didn't tweet that because I don't want too many people to know he does them. Because I don't want, like, 100 English accounts to join his next space and then, like, fucking say Liko Roy kiss when or some crazy shit. Because I get the feeling that shit's gonna happen if I don't rein myself in a bit. So I'm gonna be, like, joining them on the down low. I'm gonna be asking them some community questions and stuff, but nothing, like, super crazy. I think Sato is done. I think, honestly, they disrespected him quite a bit. I think they disrespected him. I don't think that's a way to treat one of the most experienced screenwriters in the industry. It's actually kind of disgusting, in my opinion. It's really unprofessional. Like, if you're gonna throw away his plot and make him, like, make some other shit, just say that. Like, what the fuck? Okay, well, I mean, that's one thing, but, you know, it is what it is. Honestly, they should have had the guy who yeah, Matsuzawa is good. Dude, he doesn't just write shows. He writes books, and not like light novels either. Actual dead-ass books. Like, he's a good writer. More so than, like, anyone other than Daisato who's worked on Pokemon. I think Daisato just doesn't fit Pokemon really well. As I said before, the foundational theories behind his writing are good for regular anime. They aren't really good for a kid's toy commercial. They just don't work. So, Matsuzawa, on the other hand, does fit Pokemon pretty well. He understands Pokemon decently well. Razin won't tell you that, but he does understand Pokemon decently well. He has played the games. Well, most of the games. And, yeah. So, I think that Matsuzawa will do a good job as series composition. I think that they need kind of a reset. I think they really do need to just make a narrative, a new narrative. Tomioka is good, but Tomioka is doing One Piece. And One Piece is about to come back. He's not doing both. Like, the funny thing is, Tomioka and Yonemura have literally been carrying One Piece's production on their backs for ages now. Ever since Wano started, basically. And, like, they're the reason you're getting those extended scenes. And those, like, those extended fight scenes and stuff. Is because they're repacing One Piece to be a little better. So, yeah. That's generally my, my take on the whole thing. I am now gonna open the floor. Does anyone want to come in and give their thoughts? Hello. Me? Alright. Invite to speak. I think I invited you. You have to accept the invite to speak, Chuck. There we go. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Oh, yes.
Welcome to the podcast.
I'm glad to be here. It's such an honor. It's like, I'm like, Iron Man 3, like, Tony Stark is like, has his arms up and he's like basking in the crowd.
Yeah, right.
But I guess just, you kind of tell us the message, but like, I guess that makes me wonder, was it really like, was it really just Yuyama not wanting like the cast we had to be a time skip, or was somehow, I guess, what do you think caused them to decide, yeah, now we can do a time skip?
Well, I mean, I think the first like signal of how much of a change OLM wanted to make was indicative of who they picked to write in the first place. Dai Sato, foundational writer in the anime industry. He worked on Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, Wolf's Rain, Ergo Proxy, Eureka 7, like and like five other major anime that I don't remember at the time. Like he literally has worked on like many shows that people consider like defining of the anime. I don't think he worked on Evangelion, but that's like the only other. That's like basically the only big show he didn't work on. And he likes doing time skips because time skips are common in these kinds of shows. In these coming of age shows, they're actually normal in these shows because they're a way to develop the character and change the character's personality without taking too long. So that choice by itself kind of showed how much of a change the studio was trying to make. But at the end of the day, when it came to execution, they kind of got cold feet and they kind of sort of have been reverting slowly back towards that Ash style writing. Although Arc 4 wasn't really like that, but in general, that's kind of what they did.
I mean, so you could just kind of notice how like Ash sometimes felt like a vehicle. Liko's felt like a vehicle lately. You just kind of driving the plot. So like just focus on fate or whatever.
I mean, yeah, that's what Yuyama has said. I mean, at the end of the day, Ash has always been a kind of a blank slate character who's just there to portray a narrative. While Go and Chloe were written to be, with regards to journeys at least, were written to be more realistic portrayals of like human beings. It's like that was like his wording, which is kind of a little uncanny. But yeah,
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why we had one 10-year-old who didn't go to school and two others who did.
yeah. So I don't know if like I mean from what we've seen in the Terror League, and Recap shared with me like an officially translated, like with our professional translator of that meeting about Ash leaving. From what I can tell, a lot of people in the Pokemon Company and just the franchise in general who weren't immediately at the studio wanted Ash to leave. They wanted to leave
Ooh.
because they felt that there are growing issues. And I mean, whenever they had that meeting, the Pokemon Company people literally outlined a lot of the problems that we talked about in 2022 about why he didn't leave. Let me go pull up that document really quick and let me take a look at it. Not on stream. I have to be very careful not to do that on stream. But oh wait, this is the Japanese one. I mean, I can read that too, but not quickly. Let me go here. So, I mean, I'm just gonna get a quick read of the document. Okay, it's about a page long, so it's gonna be a little long, but let me just give it through this. Starts with the anime's viewership is trending downwards. Through the cooperation of TV Tokyo and ShowPro, the anime's distribution of viewers has been strengthened through streaming platforms such as YouTube, but since the anime is based on broadcast TV, problems with viewer ratings, including the ability to attract sponsors, cannot be ignored. Satoshi cannot be reset. He cannot start from level 1 every time, so it's difficult to create a story that children can relate to and that makes the show relevant for them. We've always wanted to emphasize with the protagonist's growth. In recent years, there's been a trend where the growth is increasingly being directed at someone other than the protagonist. XY was not like that, but Sun and Moon, Lily, Journeys, go. On the other hand, longtime fans have been left wondering when will we become a Pokemon Master. The difficulty is that the same man character has been featured for so long that it's difficult to depict his growth beyond a certain point. To deal with this, we tried the Pokemon Sun and Moon series, which doesn't have a long-running storyline, but it was undeniable that it was difficult to create episodes. There's also the risk of trouble on the performance side, specifically the issues surrounding Rika Matsumoto, the voice actress for Ash. There are also a number of other circumstantial issues. In this situation, we were exploring and considering what to do next to attract more children. Okay, it's a little bit of a weird line to say, but okay. Although the medium takes many forms, broadcasting on terrestrial TV itself has significance. On the other hand, for people watching for the first time, and perhaps these children, the main character does not need to be Satoshi. By creating a new main character that is not Satoshi, we wanted to create an anime that would allow children to once again relate to the anime main character's coming of age. Like what we have. President and CEO of the Pokemon Company, Tsunekazu Ishihara, also agreed that while Game Freak is always taking on new challenges in game development, we should also take on new challenges in video production. So TPC, the Pokemon Company, has been working with ShowPro to produce a new series. Regarding our conversations with Uyama, we exchanged opinions because we had entrusted Sato Pika to Uyama for 25 years. I think the way we confirmed the contents of the final episode was not good. The culmination of Satoshi's battles was depicted in the fight against Dande. To compensate for that, I want to make the final episode a compact one. I want to end it with a story about family, which is Columbus Journey's theme. The idea is to convey the charm of Pokemon once again by having Satoshi and friends talk about their formative experiences with Pokemon. There's nothing in particular that we haven't accomplished with Satoshi and Pikachu. The topic of what a Pokemon Master is and what Satoshi's goal is was also discussed in movie 20. For Uyama, Satoshi is someone who is constantly on an adventure rather than someone who has accomplished something. That's why he deliberately chose to use a fairly abstract expression, saying it would be amazing if you could become a Pokemon Master. And the rest are just proposals for Eternal Blue Sky or whatever it was called, and also
Distant Blue Sky.
Distant Blue Sky and Horizons. Those are just what the rest of that is.
I guess for viewership, there's sort of like almost an algebra equation X. How can, if these Pokemon games, they're always going to sell 30 million copies, whatever. It just feels like the anime seemingly has an issue actually attracting any of those players to watch it, even in Japan.
I think part of that problem was that, I think that that's not necessarily true for the Terrestrial arc. The Terrestrial arc performed very, very well with regards to ratings. More so than actually, I'm pretty sure Dot versus Iono in particular was like top 5 that week in Japan of any show, like even above Jujutsu Kaisen. So Terrestrial Debut did that job. I think that the Mega Evolution episodes will do that job. But yeah, it is true that when it comes to overall average, Roy versus Liko has the highest. Yeah, okay. When it comes to average viewership, Arc 1, Arc 3 didn't have 30 episodes. It had 20. What the fuck are you saying Arc 3 had 30 episodes in the top 10? 24. It doesn't matter. That's not 30, bruh. You need to check your math, buddy. 22. Oh! Bob's your fucking dumbass, buddy.
Don't trust Robin.
No, we're cooking you more than anyone, bro. You're the one who said 30 to begin with. That's way more off. What the fuck? Anyway. So, let's bring it back a little bit. Yeah, if you talk about average viewership, Horizons is not doing very well. It did really well in Arc 1. Arc 1, it was hitting top 10 every week, especially during the summer. It was hitting top 10 literally every week. Yeah. Like for 5 weeks straight it was top 10 or some shit. It actually one point it was top 3. So, with regards to TV ratings, it was good at the first arc and YouTube ratings, but that was just because it was a new show. And then Arc 2 basically killed the show with ratings. It basically killed it. It is what it is. So, yeah, Arc 2 was super slowly paced. There was only 2 actual episodes in it that were worth watching, and, well, there was 4, but those episodes also were, while they were LLMated, they didn't really lead to anything. They weren't they were just events that happened, but aside from Liko's evolution, there wasn't really anything that there was no staying power to a lot of the shit that happened. It was just shit that happened.
Very much to be careful what you ask for, because people during that first arc were wondering where's the slower episode.
I know! That's what I said, god damn it! And they listened with Arc 4. Arc 4 had great content. Lots of content. Of course, the content was rushed and therefore not very good content, but content. Bro, so look, here's the thing, okay? You bitch here and on Twitter that we want more filler episodes, okay? These guys who wrote the best fucking for arc, the best singular like 18 episodes in Pokemon history. The best set of episodes. We're like, we don't want to write filler. We're not interested in writing filler. We're interested in writing the story we were brought on here to write. So like, okay, yo, Akao, Tsuchiya, bring the boys. Let's go fuck some shit up. And they wrote a bunch of fucking dog shit for 20 episodes straight. That's on you. Okay? That's on you. That's on Rasenburst. That's on like literally everyone who was bitching on Twitter because of this. And that's why they changed it. Of course, they realized it's shit. So they walked it back and they stopped doing it. But like that, bro, they had good writers, but they just didn't want to write filler. So, like, what, you want Tomioka to come off One Piece to write a bunch of fucking filler? Like, what? Like, look, dude, they had the series composition for Delicious in Dungeon Meshi, which was the biggest seasonal airing during its season, to come on and write filler for them. That's about as good writer you can get. And I mean, their filler episodes were good. But that's where you're at. Is that there weren't any better writers available. That's who they had on tap. Matsui, I mean, what even is Matsui doing these days? Does she even have work? Like, does she have like projects that she's doing? They had Tomioka on filler in Sun and Moon, and he hated it. So he literally came back and just wrote all the plot episodes for Journeys because it was shit. It was really annoying. But these guys can't write good anything, bro. Akao wrote that shitty ass movie script. And then it sucked. And then she came here and he was like, okay, I'm going to write filler in. It was also shit. Like, some people are just bad, but it's all they've got. So if you don't want them to write plot, that's what you're going to get. Thank fucking God they didn't have them write the plot episodes for Rakua. Thank God it was Matsuzawa who pulled a Tomioka, and wrote 5 episodes straight. Or something. Maybe there was a break in there somewhere, but he wrote almost all of it. Thank fucking God we have someone competent other than Sato to come in here. Like, Matsuzawa, like, I don't think you guys understand just how much Matsuzawa clutched this series from being basically irredeemable. Yeah, 7 out of the past 8 episodes. Like, he clutched this show from being, like, a hilariously bad, newsworthy, like me conspiring with Padit Worthy, making a fucking graphic to post on Twitter for, like, another International Meltdown worthy ending of a story, to something that was decent.
Yeah,
it wasn't
like,
like
I guess
he literally saved the show. They should fucking pay him more. I don't know why he's working at a fucking bar. I mean, that's a joke, by the way. It's a celebrity bar. He's just like a one-time thing. He just, like, he got asked to come on there, and then he, like, it's like a celebrity bar where, like, the celebrity, like, pours drinks for you and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose we could be. Yeah, that's what I was about to note. Because, like, do you remember that first round of the Masters 8 with, like, Leon versus Alon? Like, even the Japanese Twitter was, like, complaining.
Oh my, dude, don't even make me.
Netflix is rising, so you're right. You're right. At least confident, you're right. It could be.
Me and Kuroblitz in a Twitter space shouting ourselves hoarse over how bad Alon was treated in front of like 50 people. Just screaming for hours. I was complaining. For hours. And then we did it again for the Diantha episode too. Diantha versus Lance, because the animation was so fucking bad.
So, in fairness to Horizons, Rayquaza Rising has not been like that. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I, like, it's so, like, it's so disgusting to me when people like Rasenburst are like, Matsuzawa doesn't understand Pokemon, dude. When he's like literally the reason the show even like has a story anymore. Like, dude, you don't, like, fuck. I'm so bad. I mean, I'm just so bad, bro. the story was good, man. Shut the fuck up. It was good. You literally deliberately misunderstand it too. That's the crazy thing. You do it on purpose. Anyway, do you wanna come on, Razin? Do you wanna mic up? Well, mic up then. Oh, you're at the gym.
Yay!
Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I'm mowing the grass, bro. It's like windy as fucking storming outside, but I'm mowing the grass, bro. Totally. Yeah, for sure.
Oh wow! You sent a picture of the
The
of
locker
like
room.
in a gym environment.
Bro, I mean that's I like the walls. What gym is it? Is it like a local gym or is it like a Planet Fitness? I don't know what that is. Anyway, we're kind of off topic. We were talking about Pokemon, right? I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Matsu's always done an insanely good job. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I production's in a good spot right now. We're about 5 episodes ahead of airing, and that's only going to increase with the break. Um, the 2 week break we're getting, it's only going to be even more healthy. I think we're
Okay.
I think that I have optimism going into this new arc, regardless
So
of
in
production.
Journeys, what they ran into is that like they like the Chinese like groups they were outsourcing to like fell behind schedule or whatever.
Oh
Is that still
yeah.
like are they still using China a lot?
Um, I think there was one episode in this arc where they did that. I think Astro would know more off the top of his head. Astro, what do you think?
Yeah.
Did we have any like? I know we had that one Korean episode. I think you posted the SAF list of it before in the chat here. Let me scroll up here. I think you posted it earlier. Let me look.
There's us three.
He says 3. I mean, that's not too bad. But overall, like they want to. Griffin was talking about this. Griffin, just for the record, Griffin's like a guy who knows someone who works at OLM for some reason. He also hacks Amazon. But he said that the outsourcing was a really big problem for them in Arc 4. They didn't like that they had to do it. Outsourcing, for those of you who are watching this and don't know, outsourcing episodes is generally more expensive than doing in-house ones. Why? The in-house people are already on contract, while outsourcing, you have to negotiate with other companies and all of that, as well as, you know, usually your animation directors have to go over everything again to make sure everything's on model or relatively on model. And yeah, it's very expensive and for much less quality. So they don't like doing it. Like the executives even don't like doing it. And like so
No.
Iwane did like one episode this arc by himself, I think. And Iwane has I think this is his last series on Pokemon. Or at least his last series doing episodes like this, because I don't know how he does it. How he's drawing thousands of frames by himself. What?
I mean, his pace has already slowed down a lot compared to even like
Yeah,
2 years ago.
yeah. He doesn't write as many. He doesn't do as many episodes. I think he should just focus on doing cuts. I think that one, it'll extend his lifespan in a sense. And also two, it's just easier on him. The only issue is that having one of your animation teams be one guy is super good for on a production side of things, because you can just be like, "Hey, why don't you draw Eternatus in 2D?" Yeah, you could do that, right? Right? And he literally like bitches on Twitter about it. He's like, "Okay, I guess I'll do it." And he does it. Like, I can't imagine like what the production's even gonna look like. Because I mean, if we don't have Iwane, we're gonna get more outsourced episodes to like Korea and stuff. That's just one more slot that's gonna go, because while the Pokemon team is growing, there's no telling like if, because OLM has done a really good job with Apothecary Diaries. They might get contracted to make more big seasonals. Like, because Apothecary Diaries was good, Summertime Rendering was good. Summertime Rendering was the last one they did. But they might get oh yeah, they also did Dark Gathering, but I mean, I don't know if anyone outside of 4chan really gave a shit about that. Apothecary Diaries is really good. They might start doing more high tier seasonals. In which case, they might start pulling more people off of Pokemon, especially because Pokemon hasn't been doing well, despite the increase in investment.
That's what happened in 2022, right?
What?
I mean, I've heard in 2022 that, like, even for the Master Tournament, like, staff getting pulled away to seasonals was a big part of why there were all those, like, breaks and stuff.
No, well, kind of. Yeah, it was Summertime Rendering, but not really. Like, at the end of the day, it was just they were pushing way too hard. Like, they just pushed way too hard. They did, like, 12 battle episodes in 4 months. That's not... It's just not gonna work. It just, like, they don't have, like, if one in every 4 episodes is an in-house, then naturally they have a few other teams, but one of those episodes is gonna be outsourced, and it's gonna look like shit. And it got worse and worse the farther they went in. I mean, that was one big thing. I think the Lily episode, and people called me a schizo when it happened, but I'm telling you, that shit was fucking disgusting what he did. I think he fucking sabotaged. Like, he actually did. He straight up sabotaged so fucking hard. It's insane. Like, I actually still cannot believe he got away with that. And then he made, what the fuck was his name? Owada? Owada take the fall for it and get demoted. Like, I can't believe it. Like, it's actually insane what he did with that. It's crazy. He's actually like a 4chaner where, like, he'll literally throw his entire job away, his entire, like, business and his, like, project away to, like, do his one hyperfixation episode. Like, disgusting. Disgusting what he did. He actually just took the Master's A out back and shot it. It's crazy that aside from Ash versus Leon Part 4, the best episode was literally the first one of Leon versus Alon. That was, like, the only well-animated one. Ooh, but Ash versus Cynthia Part 1? No, it looked like shit.
Ash versus Cynthia Part 3?
Didn't that one
Wasn't
look...
that just a way to go?
What?
I mean,
that was the Iwane episode. That was Iwane, I think.
Yeah, Max Airstream, Lucario going into Max Airstream was kind of cool.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was... Dude, because the thing is, Pops, as soon as I saw that GIF, I knew... Oh, Part 2 was Iwane. As soon as I saw that GIF, I knew Masters 8 was fucked. Like, as soon as I saw that. I mean, of course, that was just Ashita doing key animation, and he also did Mega Charizard X. But I just knew that from that... Yeah, no, dude. The fucking Togekiss... Dude, every time you post that GIF on Twitter, Kaito crashes out. He actually straight up crashes out. It's crazy. He actually does. He gets so fucking mad. Any Journeys viewer, you post that GIF of, like, Togekiss, like, the PNG, like, just going across the screen, and Lucario just, like, randomly punching at it. People, they get so insanely mad because you know that it was shit and you can't defend it. I mean, and then there was the Project Mew slideshow. That shit pissed me off so fucking much. You guys have no... I was so goddamn mad about Project Mew's ending. Because I had been gassing that thing up for, like, literally a year. And it ended like that. I can't believe it. All right.
Oh, yeah. They had a bunch of Reggies and they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, so what do you think about this new guy?
I mean, Mega Sableye is like that. That's what I want to see in Pokemon. I want to see them use the less, like the more like less human, like the weirder looking Megas. Like, I get that Lucario is anime because he has arms you can punch, but that's a start. Mega Sableye with, like, the huge like gem and, like, uses like status effects. That's what I've wanted to see since, like, 2013. Because even the original X-Y series was all like Lucario and Charizard X with, like, their claw attacks.
Hmm. I think that I mean, I'm gonna be straight up. I mean, like people are saying he looks like a Beyblade character. I think that's probably some Beyblade, so one of
Like,
their Beyblade staff probably designed him.
I don't know, Beyblade and Pokemon have looked alike for a while now because like when I watched the most recent episode live and like Beyblade was right before Horizons. I'm like, well, I could like honestly see like them like it wouldn't take much to put those Beyblade characters into Horizons, right?
I mean, it's the same studio after all.
I guess Digimon too, like all like a lot of the Gen 9 Pokemon look like they could be Digimon. So
Well,
I don't
I
know.
think
There's been
that
sort of
like
like a merging.
Gen 9 had a lot more like designers come in from just other places. Like the Mega Man designer designed Ledge and stuff, and like that was like the most obvious shit ever. But like they had a lot of people come in and contribute designs, as opposed to Game Freak kind of handling everything themselves.
Armor, like I guess Cerulege, you know, and by the way, Amethia, one of the main characters' main Pokemon, people called him a Digimon like the moment he was revealed.
Yeah, I love Ledge. I think that like I think he should get a Mega. I think he should. Like if Ledge gets a Mega, holy fuck, Amethio is gonna be so fucking gas. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
And what's crazy is that we're finally done with the Terra effects in battles too. I think actually like Terra looked decent
Oh yeah.
in this. Like it's looked decent in Arcs 3 and 4. They kind of finally got the hang of it, but the FPS of them is still super low. Like they look kind of goofy. Like I remember whenever they did that Core Enforcer thing where he shadow dived them out of the Core Enforcer. That was like the literal goofiest shit I ever seen in my life. But aside from that, I think Orto or Uruto or Ulta or whatever you want to call him, I think he's gonna be a squeaker, straight up. He's gonna literally just. I think he's actually like the like. I think he's the age that Roy and Liko were. I think he's like 12 or 13.
Oh
He's
yeah.
definitely younger. So
He can be kind of like a Max like person. You think?
yeah, he's like a Max like person, but he's actually a trainer, which is
Yeah.
interesting. So he's like their little like sidekick, not even sidekick, but like he's like they're like literally the mentors now, sort of. Although they're rivals, so it's kind of weird. But
I like Bonnie. Max has kind of grown on me lately, so I guess I'll probably learn to like him.
I mean, honestly, Max is out of pocket, but you know he's all right. I mean, I never really hate him as much as most people did. Anyways, overall, next week, we are likely going to be getting a Mega Voltage trailer. Also, probably we're going to be getting Anime Japan with some voice actors talking and all that. So we might get some more info about the new arc. Freed is gonna fucking die, and all that. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think the anime's in a good spot now. Like, I
You know, what do you think they do with the rest of the adults? I
I
mean, you
think
did see Asagi in
they're.
the poster.
I
Do
mean,
you think they just continue to
I
sit
could
around in
see
the
them
camp?
leaving because, I mean, I'm gonna be straight up.
They
Like
didn't do
once
anything this arc.
Freed was like the one who brought those guys together. I think it's kind of sad how little focus they've had in the last year. But I think Freed's the one who brought them together, and he's gone. They might stay, but they might be like so little screen time that they basically don't matter. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's already felt like that. So
Yeah.
they probably were a huge casualty of. I'm sorry with the names, but you know that initial script, right? Because they did do more in that first arc than later.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it's so clear. Like they just like it's just sad. Like the idea was so interesting. I think that if they actually went through with it, instead of like literally being so reactionary to everything TPC dictates to them, if they just went through with the plot Sato made, even if it was flawed, it would have been a lot more consistently fun than it is now. But hopefully, Arc 3 is good. Like all we can do is hope that the next season's good. And since we are not dealing with pretty much any of the baggage from the last couple arcs, we should be Gucci.
Oh,
Probably.
so you don't think that like do you think the explorers will be like totally done after next week?
Um, the
I
explorers
mean,
are
they're so popular.
definitely
You just have to pop up
the
sometimes.
explorers are definitely not done, considering that like Matsuzawa alluded to in the space that they might continue interacting in the future, and he wonders about the relationship between Amethio and the explorers going forward. So the explorers are not done.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
they're not done. Like definitively, I can just tell you they're not. They're still around. Probably like in other roles though. I don't think the explorers like
They might
as
as
an
well start like
organization.
taped with blue clouds and Anne will be the champion and they kidnap her to get something out of her body. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to make that joke.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with them, but the explorers, as they are now, will probably disband, of course. But we're gonna be seeing Amethio and the others again. I mean, Spinel is clearly going to continue to be the main antagonist going forward
Yep.
because I don't think he's dying with Freed. He's getting the fuck out of there. He's literally like,
Oh
okay, well,
no.
if I can't have it, well, you guys can't like live. So yeah, it is what it is. But also,
Yeah.
like them losing 5 of the 6 heroes is a major blow to their battle strength to begin with. Because now, like, if you really think about it, after the time skip, like they'd probably just start using the 6 heroes as like mons that they have
Right.
because they've grown enough as
Right.
trainers for the 6 heroes to acknowledge them and all that. Like they would probably just like, oh yeah, Roy just flying around on Galarian Moltres or whatever. Like yeah, like that would just happen.
Devil Fire, come
What
out.
the
Dragon
cool
Dance.
thing is
Now give
that
me some
I
Dragon Ball.
think Roy is maintaining Rayquaza, but since Rayquaza used all its energy, it's probably just sealed inside like Terrapagos.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But Mega Evolution might make it come back.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, maybe
I
they
don't know. I,
find the meteorite and they feed it to Rayquaza so he gets his energy back, and then Mega Ray, dude. All right, that
I guess
on that note, the fact that Oshida actually baited us with Rayquaza versus Zygarde is crazy. I think actually that when they made that OP, they hadn't decided how the fight was gonna go. And they hadn't decided if they were gonna
totally.
use Rayquaza versus Zygarde yet. I think that's what happened because from what we've heard, it was kind of a mess. This arc was literally, when it comes to writing and stuff, the like a disaster. Animation production wise, there was still issues of outsourcing, but it wasn't that bad. But the writing was really bad, like genuinely concerningly bad.
Wait
With
for the good
regards
character that
to
can ride
pacing and
Golden.
everything, thank God Matsuzawa like was able to kind of resolve it, but it was still kind of sad that we didn't get Rayquaza versus Zygarde, and they actually just made Zygarde a good guy. That was crazy. Zygarde being the good guy. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, Pokemon has historically never let their creatives do much of like Pokemon as villains. Like, there's the Malamar and XY, but like, most of the time
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the
It
villains,
was,
there's the humans
dude.
that are
What's crazy, dude?
manipulating
The
them.
Malamar and XY, bro. The fact that we got cliffhangered on them and then they never came back. Mega
All right.
Zygarde is not gonna happen before the game comes out. Mega Zygarde's like for the finale. It's gonna be Mega Rayquaza versus Mega Zygarde in yet another test. By the way, like literally just gonna be another test. Like okay, but are you really Lucius's de facto descendant? Let's test you out, buddy. Let's do it. I want to see Bonnie Zygarde. Honestly, like I wouldn't mind if this Zygarde goes away. I think the Zygarde, like, he's not attached to the Explorers anymore. He's done. Gibeon is done. So, like, it's very clear that Gibeon's ambitions are done. This Zygarde, it might show up again. Maybe no. Amethio's gonna have it. Amethio's gonna have it. Cause, okay, I'm gonna be straight up, guys. I didn't watch the show. Does Amethio still have that cell in his pocket? Did they do anything with that?
It was keeping track of the Rising Volt tacklers, right? So I'm
Oh,
sure they'll like
no. But does he have
keep doing
Hamber's
that.
cell? Does Amethio still have Hamber's cell? Because I didn't see. I only watched like this episode.
I don't recall if they did anything with that these last few episodes.
Okay, Hamber is at the fucking base. He's at the mansion, bro. He's chilling. He's drinking tea. He's being a chill guy. But
Yeah.
I'm asking if you guys know, does Amethio still have the cell? Is what I'm asking. Does he still have it like in his pocket or whatever the fuck?
Ask
And
for
no
help.
one's answering. Okay. He doesn't
Um,
have it. He used it, or did he get used, or what?
like I don't think they showed him using it one way or another.
Did Zygarde like absorb it? Like where are we at here? It was a cell, Poke1120. He didn't use it. Okay, so I think that Zygarde is going to become a Meteos Pokemon. Oh, Hamber has it. Okay, well, Hamber is going to give it to a Metheo, obviously. And Zygarde is going to become a Meteos Pokemon, I think. And he's going to have Mega Zygarde. And I'm not really sure. Either that or Spino uses Hamber, like Mega Zygarde. But that would be the stupidest shit I've ever heard. I think I think Amethio is gonna have it. He's gonna have Mega Zygarde. Spinel is, they might do like a redo of XYZ, except this time the Requiem is like the Anastar City dial or whatever. The green kid is getting it. Are you just saying that because the kid's hair is green? Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. Honestly, green kid getting Zerara would go hard, but I want Liko to get Zerara. I like Liko. I think she should get all the. I think she should get all the legendaries. Yeah. No, she gets both. Oh yeah. Um, I don't want the green kid to get the Mega Zerara. Like he already has a Mega. Why would he need two Megas? He doesn't need two Megas. It's probably gonna be Liko. Liko. Yeah, I think she's gonna get it. Anyway, that said, I think I'm gonna call it here. Honestly, I think this was a little productive. I was able to kind of go through how I felt about the production. I didn't really expand on all the details I want to, mostly because I forgot some of them. I didn't write any of this down. I kind of just spoke from my mind. Thoughts on? I don't listen to rap. The only music I listen to is like fucking Japanese music. I only listen to like Hige Dandism and Tetsuya Kitani playlists. I don't listen to fucking. I don't listen to any of that dog shit, horrible shit that you call music. Why the fuck would anyone listen to shit talking about like drugs and shit? Like, who are you? Like, what the fuck? Not me. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I am, and I'm also a functioning member of society. Anyway, yeah, I didn't listen to that or any of the other dog shit. Anyway, thank you all for watching. You're watching us on YouTube and all that. Thank you. There's you guys who were typing in Discord, giving me something to bounce off of. Thank you. A lot of fun. Of course, join the Brave Asagi Discord server. We are in here arguing every single day about this show. We also do a lot of analysis. We do translations. We do all kinds of shit. We procure content.
We're always looking for defenders of a certain character.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got over we have almost 1,400 members, as well as well over 100 average members talking per day. We are for all intents and purposes the most active and also influential anime-poke server. Join it. It's in the description of this live stream and will be, I guess, a video if you're watching the VOD below. Thank you, and have a good day. See y'all for episode 89.